Man, we talked so much about like thumbnails and all that, and I'm so gracious that you came and just like gave us a little peek behind the curtains about all. I, as a content creator myself, I'm like so fascinated by just Jim's YouTube game. I have been for years, bro. I kind of model my shit after it. So
yeah.
Yeah,
Brian, it's all Brian. He kind of, realized.
well, it's you too, man. It's these thumbnails,
contact
dude. It's the
thing,
creativity. It's
content,
what's gonna. Yeah, you're popping people with the thumbnail. It draws people in to click it, and they're so creative, and they've gotten better over the years too, and they're just so on point, and yeah, they're amazing. But we talked about that for so long. Travis Heckel, what we do on this show, on PWT Podcast or live show, is we like to make fun of sickos in the IWC. We like to make fun of Dave Meltzer, or at least have a little laugh. Are you interested in that? You want to partake in a Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week with me?
Do you see my thumbnails of Dave Meltzer? I'll always make fun of Dave Meltzer.
Okay, so we're going to dive into a place, sometimes a scary place, often a funny place. It is called Phil Mark's Bookmarks here. And it is time for a very special Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week with Travis Heckel. Okay, so what I know, it's a little bit of old news, but it's still relevant news, and it's news that a lot of people haven't gotten over entirely, and I've covered it on the show already. But what were your thoughts on the whole Dutch Mantell, Dave Meltzer debacle here, and Dutch saying he wants to slap Dave?
If I could hold Dave for Dutch, I would. I would be happy to. Because Memphis wrestling is a different animal, because it was like the last territory. So you look at these guys, they were your family, like Dutch and Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee. They were in our lives for 20 years, going every week seeing these guys. So, they're kind of like your family. You grew up with these guys, you got to see them every week. I'd go to Louisville Gardens every week. So Dutch is like, I would go to battle for Dutch, he seems like a good guy. And I hate anybody who would take the opportunity to rag on somebody who almost died,
Right.
And his wife. I'm sure Dutch would be like, you can make fun. Well, I think even Dutch said it.
He says it. Yeah.
Me. Yeah. Like, right. Yeah. But like, once you start, his wife has nothing to do with the wrestling business. I've never seen her on TV. She's just a wife,
Yep.
And when you drag people's, like you said, dragging people's family, that's kind of goes over the line. There's the people I don't like, but I don't bring anybody's family and things, like that. So if I could be the one that would hold Meltzer, and if Dutch could slap that stupid ass tongue out of his face, I would be first in line, because Dutch deserves that.
Yeah, man.
So you know what I think about Meltzer.
So what do you make of, because one aspect of that situation was, Jim, and of course Stacy Cornette, the Queen, who follows PWT. Yeah. They donated I think the largest sum, but Meltzer, and let's be honest, Jim has the largest podcast in the pro wrestling space, the top one for sure. And I think two of them, actually, if you break them into two different shows, I think they're like number 1 and 2 in the space overall all time. So Dave Meltzer goes, the two most, except the most notable people were, Chris Jericho and the best guys.
Tony Khan.
So you're sitting there like, okay, you look at the GoFundMe, and Jim and his wife are actually the number 1, and he just excludes that. Why? Because Jim is critical of AEW, and Dutch simply gave his critique on AEW, and some reason you're allowed to critique things, Dave, but no one else is. So that really pissed me off. What say you? Like, how did you feel about that?
Well, here's the way you handle that. I probably don't hate Tony Khan personally. He's probably a decent guy. Yeah. But his presentation is wrestling's terrible. But if you're like a Meltzer, here's how you handle this. They go, hey guys, I know a lot of you all make fun of Tony. how he acts on stage when he comes to the ring. He can't walk in the ring, how he gets excited in scrums and stuff. But, like him giving this money shows, hey, Tony's got a heart. He loves the wrestling community. Tony did. He grew up, he watched wrestling. He loves the sport. It's obviously he does. He doesn't know how to book it, but that's different. But, Meltzer could have easily said something like, hey, just, Tony's a fan too. He just wanted to help out. See, he's not that bad of a guy. You can knock him, but, hey, take another look at Tony. But instead, he had to go, he could have made Tony just in a good light, just saying, this guy doesn't even wrestle for AEW. He's never been in AEW. But Tony still felt the need to help him out. So, hey, donate to, help out Dutch, support him, watching the show. Give Tony some props for doing it. You didn't have to mention Jim or anybody else.
I know. It felt so TMZ when he's like, the top donors were these guys.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Yeah, you didn't have to mention that. Just say, support Dutch, and maybe look at Tony in a different light. He loves, he loves the sport. He loves all these guys, give him a little,
That's
hey,
great. I really love pro wrestling, and I love soda waters too.
But, and I bet Tony was probably kind of mad about it, because he's like, don't drag me in all that, you dummy. So, just unnecessary knocking people and stuff. It didn't, and, like I said, trust me, there's a few people on the YouTube shows, they hate me. They just, and now, sometimes I walk my dog, I just look at the, look at the videos. You're always going to have critics. I got about 4 people in those YouTube comments. They hate me. They think I suck. Okay, whatever. I can't do anything about it. Tony has his critics, but that's, it's part of it. If you're going to be out there, you're going to get criticized. That's all it is. So, especially if you're on a, what was that? 300 million, whatever he was. If you're on a wrestling company, it's, getting that, you're going to get criticized. I mean, it's part of it. If not, stay at home in your basement.
So moving along, though, another one of these dumb things he said a little bit ago, which we did cover, but I would love to hear your thoughts on as well, is Meltzer says, well, he responds to this guy, Joe Del Busso, who says, no, AEW lost in a ratings war with NXT. I guess they went head to head. Well, I don't guess. I know I watched it. They don't cater to casual wrestling fans, etc. Meltzer goes, oh, you heard a podcaster who has no clue about history of number 2 promotions historically. So is he referring to Jim or Bischoff or Dutch or who? Like, I hate how he, these podcasters who have no clue of all these podcasters know more about this than you, Dave.
They've all been like Jim booked with Vince McMahon. I mean,
they were all in the number 2 promotion and worked with Vincent,
it's like, and Dutch is, I mean, historically, I mean, you hear people talk when TNA was kind of down, what got the most props? The women's division. And you always heard who booked the women's division, Dutch. So it's not like these guys don't know what they're talking about. You may not like it, but historically they in Dutch booked Puerto Rico, he booked Memphis. I mean, if you may not like Bischoff, but you know what? He beat the WWF for a time. I mean, you may not like it, but what he says, but hey, he did somebody else nobody else could do. So if you don't listen to guys that have worked in the business and who've been around the block, they've learned from like veterans, like Jerry Jarrett and Eddie Graham and people like that, Kevin Sullivan. Those guys pass knowledge to these guys like Bischoff and Dutch and Jim. If you don't listen to what they say, that's on you. And old Meltzer, he's had a living of people kissing his ass for years because he had a newsletter. Well, I think Twitter and then especially AEW kind of woke up. People kind of realize what kind of a person he is now, and he's kind of an asshole.
Right.
And doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's kind of got worked a lot, it's kind of come out. So,
not even dude, he's been worked a
ton.
And,
yes.
And all of those names, like a lot of those names or all of them that you mentioned too, they've forgot and then remembered more about wrestling than they would ever know in his lifetime 10 times over. That's what's crazy to me. And he says they were either misleading you or lying. Dave's been caught in so many fucking lies
yes,
just this year
of
alone.
course.
We chronicle it here. So how many lies has Jim Cornette been caught in? I don't know. How many lies has Dutch Mantell been caught in? I don't know. Not many. How many lies has Bischoff been caught in? I don't know. Not maybe a few. No, I'm just twisting things. But, and then Dave goes on to say also WWE doesn't cater to casuals either. Their booking is assuming everyone is a regular weekly viewer. The only promotion that caters to casuals is CMLL. Now, you don't even have to be a casual fan of WWE to know that WWE caters to casuals, because even if you're not a WWE fan, you see WWE on Snapchat or, on social media, or, oh, look, WWE's on the morning, whatever, or this wrestler guy's in a movie, they're promoting, whatever. So to me, for Dave
they do all those review packages all the time. They're great.
Yeah.
So people know what's going on.
Exactly.
Their video thing is spectacular. They know how to tell the story.
And for him to say that WWE doesn't cater to casuals and their booking is assuming everyone is a regular weekly viewer, and for him to not have that exact criticism for AEW, and then to, like, I don't even know, sociopathically apply that to WWE, project that onto them, is the craziest.
It is. And he lives, I guess that cluttered ass room of his screwed his. I showed that picture to my wife. And she is organized. And she goes, "Don't ever show me that picture again because it makes me nervous."
What's on all those papers? Dude, you're an artist. Do you got that much papers around?
No.
Have you ever had that?
No, maybe when I do on paper, I didn't. And I'm like, what do you have on? I mean, it's all over the floor. I mean, what is wrong with you?
List, the name of Joshi's from All Japan, and
so every once in a while I'll be mean. I go, "Hey, Kristen, look at this picture." She's like, "What?" And I'll show her that picture of Meltzer in his room. She's like, "Oh God, I hate you." Yeah. It makes me nervous.
So Bischoff says the most clueless, out of touch take I've seen in a while, even for this clown, and that's saying a lot. Watching AEW now, Indie-rific show. We covered that before. So Meltzer, criticized AEW's booking here for once. So maybe this is a Meltzer smart moment of the week, but
he did really.
Well, we'll see. We'll see the extent of it. I'm actually reacting to this live with you here. I did not read ahead. Did you happen to catch what happened on last night's Dynamite? But this will be Friday when this releases. Time Cop, like my favorite movie. We're actually traveling through time, Travis. But here's the thing. Are you familiar with the whole Neo Moxley clan thing? Yeah. Obviously, you're making you make content that has to do with it. You're listening to Jim, even if you're not watching. However, are you familiar with what happened last night by any chance?
What he taped his hands up and he tried to kick them still,
and then he's doing the goofy kicks, right?
Oh my God! Yeah,
it's the go home for Full Gear.
I watched it this afternoon. Yeah, I was getting ideas for the Full Sail art.
And Meltzer actually criticizes it as well. He goes, he doesn't think the closing angle of AEW Dynamite was done well as a setup for the main event of Full Gear between Cassidy and Moxley. Cassidy and Moxley, sorry, Travis, is the goddamn main event of Full Gear. I am angry. Sorry.
This art's going to be glorious. These two clowns.
Oh my God. I just don't know if I can make it through. Like, I always live stream these pay-per-views or PLEs, dude. And I am, this is going to be a tough one to get through. But either way, Meltzer says, and I quote, I didn't think that Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta was the match it should have been. So they chose to end the go-home show, Dynamite, with an overrun and everything. They chose to go Cassidy versus Yuta in the main event of their go-home show. Just insane, no? Like,
if I had to answer to Tony Khan's booking, I'd be as rich as him.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
He just, like I said, he's probably a nice guy, but I guess I grew up in the era of Jerry Jarrett where things had to make sense. I don't know. Era of, and Jim Cornette, because Jim Cornette came from like Bill Watts and Jerry Jarrett. Yes. And I'm so used to Jim he goes loops over loops. Something has to make sense or he won't, that's just how his mind works. And you just see stuff with AEW so much. You're just going, I can't even think. It makes me scatterbrained thinking of the stuff they do. I just don't. I mean, and I guess attendance and ratings show nobody else gets it either.
Yeah, and people like to go, that doesn't matter, but it's like, then why are they running small goddamn buildings now, like we've all been begging them to do? And also, you know, it feels like it's a bunch of people just doing whatever they want, but then the last minute filters Tony Khan, who puts his little fingerprint on it at the end, and he's not a good filter, right? It's like Vince Russo came up with a lot of dumb, but he was able to like filter it through some people who would maybe make it kind of good or tolerable or with the times or whatever, right? So when it comes to
he
this,
had to filter through McMahon no matter what. I mean,
exactly. And so say what you will about Vince, say what you will about me, pal, I'm gone now. Yeah, I'm like the Phantom of the Opera. You'll never see me again. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe the Saudis. I'll start a new wrestling fed in the Saudis. I'm going to call it World Wrestling Federation. Yeah.
I never count Vince.
Me either, dude.
He'll never die, probably.
It's like a cockroach, dude. He'll survive with nuclear.
You know, the thing about Tony, which I never understood, he's had guys like Arn Anderson, Jake, I mean, have been on booking committees for years, and I don't understand how. I guess they're just like, whatever, I'm taking the check, and
I think they try. If I had to guess, I think they try. Then they just give up, because after like 2-3 times they're like, okay, he either gets offended and we get buried in the dirt sheets, or we just go or we just kiss his ass. Not even kiss his ass. I don't want to call anyone a kiss ass. Or we just chill and do our job and get a check, because all those people deserve it. Arn Anderson deserves to go get paid way more than he's worth anywhere else. Yeah, to just chill and do whatever. So I get it. Don't mess up your gig. I never criticize the wrestlers for going to work for marking a money mark in for money. I mean, I never get mad at that. But
I just wish he could filter things. I mean,
quality control, dude.
Yes, I mean, because I never was going to like AEW. It's not my thing, but that doesn't mean I want them not to succeed. You know, I want wrestlers to have jobs. I mean, like anybody, I want everybody to have jobs. You know, I don't want anybody to be on the streets and, you know, having to go to indie shows for $40. I want people to have jobs. And like, you know, a lot of people rip Jim about, you know, ripping AEW, but you know, he when he rips something, if you notice when he rips it, he follows up with criticisms of how to fix it.
Exactly. I try to do the same thing. I call it adding value, adding value.
And he wants, and deep down, he wants them to succeed. Jim does.
Of course. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't waste his time on it if he didn't.
Yeah. He wants, I mean, if you listen to him, he's trying to tell you, hey, try. And a lot of things he says, it's like, that would make sense. Like drawing stuff out for a while. Don't make a 3-month storyline end in 2 weeks. That's the stuff they do. And you're not going to draw fans, when you just ADD. I call it ADD booking. It's basically what it is. It's ADD booking. It's just week to week instead of like draw things out, let it build. Like the bloodline's been going on 2 years or whatever.
Longer than that, dude. We're going up to like 5 years now, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it's like still a hot storyline because they've learned how to, build it up and things. And instead of AEW, just 2 weeks, it's done. Like, aren't you? Didn't you put something about Camille, like how bad she's been used?
Oh yeah, dude. I tweet it all the time because she's one of my favorite female wrestlers from NWA and wherever I've seen her. And how the you up Camille? She's been the worst book heater or bodyguard, whatever ever of all time.
She has star potential, and you ruined it within a month.
Right.
You ruined her in a month, and it's just going to take her 2 years to rebuild herself.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
If
and
you start now,
I love Camille, and it's Mercedes' fault, and it's that Jen Pepperman's fault. I blame Bischoff for putting Jen Pepperman over. No, I'm just joking, but come on, let's be honest. Who's writing that? That's terrible. If that's how is the whole idea. No, we just make Camille look stupid, and then she eventually beats Mercedes. Okay, that's not going to get her over though. Y'all tried that with Wardlow, and it blew up in your face.
They screwed that up. Yeah, they even drew that out a little bit, and they still screwed it up.
Exactly. So. But anyways, though, this whole Cassidy versus Moxley main event, I can't believe I'm honestly like, yeah, I'm going to watch that, guys. But anyways, Meltzer says, man, you can't put him that way. But to me, the story should be that he's going to win the title. So Meltzer, this is a dumb moment because he wants Cassidy to win the belt.
I mean, even though I don't like Moxley, there's no way Orange Cassidy should be a world champ. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. And we all said it, man. We're like, Tony's going to around and put the belt on Cassidy, and he's going to run with these guys. I called it out, and he's doing it, man. Perry, Garcia, Yuta, all the guys, the literal specific names that you can name where it's like, not these guys, bro. This can't be the A guys of your company. He's doing it. It's what he's doing, man. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I know Brian, since AEW started, Brian has said almost from day one, he's gonna make Orange Cassidy world champion one day.
Yes, he has.
And dude. Brian and Jimmy's like, and Brian would be like, I'm telling you, he's in love with him, and he's gonna make him world champion. And we'll see. Is it Saturday? This pay-per-view Saturday?
It's this Saturday. Yes.
Okay, I guess we'll see Saturday. Yeah,
exactly. And Meltzer, I think, or someone peddled it out there. Probably Meltzer. They were like, Orange Cassidy is John Cena aura or something like that. Someone put that out there, a dirt sheet or one of these idiots. Yeah. So anyways, though, Meltzer goes, the thing at the end when they're all beating him up, they just beat him up. They leave and he gets up all defiant and everything. It's just like he should have been destroying all of them. Cassidy should have been destroying all these guys. Claudio, who no-sells all you guys because you're way shorter and lighter than him. He weighs 2 of you, so he no-sells you all. That's who Cassidy should have been destroying. Well, he's duct tape, dude. Should have been destroying all of them or something because he's the challenger for the world title in a pay-per-view main event. Okay, so Dave, he's always so backwards. So typically, like the challenger will be left laying, and then he'll overcome the champion at the pay-per-view. Dave's always ass backwards, man. It's crazy. Am I wrong on that, Travis?
That whole paragraph is just weirdly. I've been reading it off and on, and I'm just like, he confuses me just trying to figure out what he's saying. I mean, exactly. I don't understand what he's even trying to, I'm just glad everybody sees what Meltzer is now. That's all I care,
Dude, for real. And how about how he doesn't point out that Orange Cassidy's taped up and then he does the fake kicks, but he's just like, oh man, Cassidy should have been destroying all of these guys.
I can't wait to this review. They're recording tomorrow. I think Brian told me tomorrow, and I can't wait to see Jim's reaction to the kicks because Jim will go crazy.
Oh, I can't wait
with that kick thing because he hates both of them, and it'll be a gold segment.
So the Wrestling Observer was asked they asked Tony Khan about February's Grand Slam show in Australia, and Tony Khan said they have sold thousands of tickets. The time zone presents challenges as presenting it as a domestic pay-per-view. He mentions Max streaming Dynamite and Collision, possibly a not so subtle nod toward that being the place fans can watch. And then just to follow that up, because they report on that, I saw I can't remember, I put it in AEW News, I believe.
You have a Dave Meltzer photo, hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, dude. I wrote every show. So that's why these segments, this one is going to go down in infamy because you're here, good sir. So anyways, though, this guy comments, now take this with a pinch of salt. I don't know if this is a YouTube comment or a tweet, or I don't know what this is, but this guy posts, I've heard from mates that do maintenance and groundkeeping for the local rugby league team, the Brisbane Broncos, at Suncorp Stadium in Australia, that ticket sales for the AEW Australia show are absolutely horrendous. I had to explain what I meant because they didn't know what I was talking about until they inquired at the office. So he's saying, like, he reached out to people who work there. He's like, what's going on with the AEW show, bruv? And then they're like, what the fuck are you even talking? Like WWE? No, AEW, you know? Oh, okay, I'll check that out for you. So this guy goes on to say it's a stadium that holds over 52,000 people at capacity, and they're struggling badly to sell tickets. Why would you go to a 50,000 seat stadium thinking you were going to sell it out? Brisbane Entertainment Center does 13K capacity. They should have considered that venue instead. Trying to outdo WWE's Elimination Chamber crowd in Perth is a big mistake, considering AEW is very unknown to most Southern Hemisphere wrestling fans as wild, shocking decision makers in that company. So this is sort of a Tony Khan dumb moment as well, because basically the success of the last All In, I don't think was really there. So then he goes, we're going to do Texas and Australia. And they have like no market out there. I've talked to people who listen to my show from Australia. They're like, dude, you don't really get AEW out here.
So did they even get it there? I didn't know you got, I mean, I even figured AEW went to Australia. I mean, that's just.
No, they're going to. They're trying to. You know what I mean?
On TV. Do they have, I mean, is it really popular? I mean,
like the actual, no, it's not at all. Like they have no one's watching it out there, and they have no real marketing out there. And Tony thinks he's gonna like fill this stadium of 50,000 people or whatever. And I think this is sort of like, to tie it back to Meltzer. You know how Meltzer's like, hey, we're raising the price to $14.99. You know, it's like, is this what Tony Khan's doing in your eyes? Like, is he looking at the lack of success at the last All In and going, oh, we got to pull the trigger now and just announce Texas and Australia and try and hit these stadiums like fire sale style? Do you think it's that, or, and then obviously like Observer's only going to cover it favorably, and you know, Tony saying, oh, we sold thousands of tickets, but this guy here in Australia, I don't know, this could be real or fake, I don't know, but it seems kind of legit, I guess. At least the guy did some Wikipedias to get his names right. So all I'm saying is, like, do you think it's fire sale type thing, or
I don't know, if his ego, he can't see the forest beyond the trees, that thing? Yeah, I mean, you can see. I don't, maybe he thinks everything's dying in the United States, so he has to go deeper. I don't know what he thinks. I mean, I don't even see how they drew that many to London, to tell you the truth. That shocks me. They even drew anything to London, but especially Australia. I guess he thinks he has to get a bigger fan base to get more product on his eyes. But if products wasn't always, if it's on their eyes to begin with, why would you run there? Right. That's what I don't understand with him.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're not even big in Australia, I just don't understand why you run there. I just don't. I mean, maybe he can pull like a Vince, Sergeant Slaughter, and Hulk Hogan from '91 WrestleMania. They were going to run that LA Coliseum at 100,000. Tickets sucked, and they said there might be a terrorist attack, so they have to go to a different venue, a smaller venue. Maybe Tony can pull that out or something like that.
Oh my God. That's good. Holy. And it's funny here how the Observer goes like possibly a not so subtle nod toward that being the place fans can watch, alluding to Max that Tony Khan mentioned. So we know it's not so subtle because you're not being so subtle about it, Observer.
Yes.
And obviously it'll be on Max, good for them. But I think Max has like 52 million subscribers, and it's like, dude, 106 million people were trying to watch Paul and Tyson at the same time, dude. So I mean, I don't want to say apples to oranges, but it's like big apples to like really small apples. Yeah.
I think we're looking more at cherries.
Yes. Are you? So you talked about how NXT's kind of glib to you.
Yeah.
The last one I got here. Are you familiar with Ridge Holland though?
Is he the guy that used to be with Sheamus and Butch?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So Meltzer says like that he puts WWE over for once, and he goes, they've done a really good job with Ridge Holland in NXT, despite him having no charisma. So Dave always does this thing where, even to AEW does it, where he backhand compliments people.
Yes.
He'll try, he thinks he's putting something over. Meanwhile, he's like burying a whole group of people or a whole other person at the same time. And you pick up on that?
Yeah, I think it's just his antisocial behavior. He's so awkward with speaking with people. Normally, if you see him, how he acts around people, I think he's just so awkward. He doesn't know how to put things out or something. I don't know what it is with him. Because, I mean, to me, I mean, you would seem like, just me, it seemed like, hey, I want to get more ass to my newsletter. Let's pump at this guy, and maybe some fans will start, oh, yeah, he's talking good about WWE some. But you immediately go to this guy has no charisma. I mean, you just immediately like, this guy has no charisma. He sucks. But, it's like.
They did good.
Well, you're not going to get any WWE fans to listen to anything you say because you're automatically saying he sucks, It's like, well, you're not going to help your business at all doing that. I mean, I don't know how many.
And he talks about like the old out of touch podcasters. But the thing is NXT is like the hip thing, and it's more like hip hop vibe. Like Shawn Michaels really has his finger on the pulse of like, it's more of the progressive wrestling show. It's amazing to me.
If you were telling me 20 years ago, Shawn Michaels would be.
But yeah, this is definitely out of touch, and Dave feeling old and just not having his finger on the pulse, which is hilarious. It's so funny how much he projects. But anyways, though, Dave says that guy has so little charisma, and they've managed to get people to hate him anyway. Or does that mean he might have a little bit of charisma, Dave, and you're just burying him for no reason?
So
is it that he's doing
Ridge
good?
Holland, is he like the main bad guy on NXT?
He's like one of the main bad guys now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's injuring dudes. He broke up Chase. Yeah.
So are the fans like reacting to him?
Oh yeah,
you're doing your job.
Exactly.
I mean,
Dave doesn't get it, man. He really doesn't get it.
I mean, if that's the case, if fans reacting to you, you're doing your job. I mean, that shouldn't be. I mean, that's how wrestling works.
And he always said too, like, they did a really good job, and it's like that conspiracy. It's like, who's they, dude? Okay.
Yeah.
Who's they, bro?
Yeah, he does do that a lot.
They did a really good job with a guy who they've tried 100 times with.
Well,
dude, he was over he was over with the Brawling Brutes. What the fuck?
It's the only thing he's done really is that group, right? I mean, really. Yeah, I mean, like Baron Corbin, I can see him. They gave him a bunch of gimmicks, and I mean that can be debatable if he thought they failed or were successful. But he did have 10 chances, But like this Ridge Holland, that's the only thing I've known him from. So
yeah,
he didn't get. I don't. He's an idiot.
And Dave's so dumb. Like this whole storyline. So what Dave would say is like, oh well, he was Brawling Brutes, and then he was in this faction called Chase U in NXT, and then what he did last night. And what Dave's putting him over here for while he's burying him, though, on or not last night, but the night before on Tuesday there, or maybe 3 nights ago, because this is now Friday Time Cop, my favorite movie. No, but Ridge broke up this faction. It was like, if I win, your faction's done. So Dave would probably thinks like him being in Chase U was them taking this other chance on him, but it wasn't, bro. It was telling the story months down the line. I know you idiots don't understand long-term storytelling over there at the Observer and AEW. But
exactly, yes.
Yeah, so anyways, though, he goes a real athlete with a good physique, looks powerful. That's their type of guy. Yeah, that's what every pro wrestler's type of guy. Every pro wrestling fan, that's their type of guy, Dave. That's the pro wrestling.
Look like an athlete and look like he can handle business. I mean,
dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, he looks good. The dude looks good. I mean, he looks like he has a good look right there.
And what's the quote-unquote alternative type of guy? Oh, it's not as good as the Tony Khan type of guy, which is what, like, Jack...
The best guy is Tony Khan!
I don't get it. But he just had no charisma, and everywhere he went, there was just nothing, and now he's something. He just had no charisma with the Brawling Brutes. He had no charisma. Okay, maybe you could argue that, but they were over as like a team, and then he went to NXT and all he did was literally he went down to NXT. He did this little story where he hurt another dude, and then he turned heel kind of, but then Chase U saved him, and then he broke up Chase U from the inside out. What do you mean, Dave? That's called long-term storytelling. It's not 100 things. He got everything over that he's been in so far. The 2 major things he's been in, they got over. What are you talking about? I have no idea.
Well, like I said earlier, if the fans are reacting to it, you're doing something right. Because you know what? You can see a difference. Like Mercedes Moné fans are reacting, but that's like, get the hell out of my TV reacting. And there's a lot of people in AEW, they don't get any reaction. So, it's quiet.
Cough, Daniel Garcia.
Yes, exactly.
Well, folks, that was a very special Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Let's go.